Hello, my air sign friends. Welcome to a new week. Welcome to this heavy, wild Pisces full moon that we're all in the middle of. I myself and everyone else I know are all absolutely going through it. So wouldn't be surprised to hear that you are too. So of course, because of that, we're going to do a Pisces full moon spread for you to see what's going on. It's going to be, and I had to write it down, so pardon my brain. What do I need to release? How can I do that? And what am I making space for? Let's find out for air signs. Oh, here we go. Gosh, the first cards in these spreads so far have been so strange. They seem like end result type cards. More fun for me. So, ooh, this is nice. Air signs. As far as what you need to release, it's decisions, and that goes hand in hand with one of the other spreads I did for water signs. It was illumination and clarity, and that's what I'm talking about. It's like you look at that and you go, how do I release that? Isn't that something that I want to do? Well, here's the thing. You're probably not ready to make a choice about something. You're probably putting a lot of pressure on yourself to decide in some sort of situation or choice that you have. And this is basically coming in to be like, hey, why are you trying to make a decision without all the facts yet? Why are you trying to make a decision from a place that's super emotional and you need to get clear on how you feel? Why are you trying to make a choice that's not ready to be made? And sometimes that's really tough. We have to totally surrender the timeline of certain things, and we want things to happen now, and we want things to be alleviated now, and it's seeming like they just can't be. I just got an image in my head of somebody like throwing a beach ball in the air, which is so, it's like weird images today, because for water signs it was like the ball in the bucket game for Bozo, and for air signs it's like somebody with a beach ball. And so that to me is like having a lot of ideas right up in the air, keeping things up here and going, oh my gosh, what do I do next? Or how do I keep it going? How do I keep it afloat? And I think what's happening is you're exhausting yourself. I'm getting like a tension in my back area. Like some of you are just like keeping this thing in the air that doesn't need to be there, or you're keeping like too many things in the air. You're overwhelming yourself. That's why you can't make a decision. Like there's just too much. You've got too many balls in the air. You're juggling. You've got, it's too much, and you're like hurting yourself doing that. So you need to take a break. I'm just listening as if you need to know. No, I think there's just a lot of pressure there. That's what I'm feeling in my back. Like you're putting undue pressure on yourself to force something that can't be forced right now. And I said this in the water signs video too, and it's appropriate for you as well. It's very appropriate for this Pisces full moon, because what's coming in right now is this energy that has everything to do with like situations and people and just things coming up for review, for revisiting. And it very much carries an energy of things that we've been working on and moving through and developing over the past 6 months. So what were you kind of hoping would happen or making decisions about in like February and March? And is there something coming back into play now that ties to that? It's good to pay attention to that, because those things absolutely are linked, and they're coming back up now and saying like, so do you have a new perspective? So how do you feel like after everything you've done and everything that you've gained and all the work that you've done on yourself? Like, is there a different choice that's in the mix here that we're forgetting about because we're trying to keep all this other stuff in the air and we're just like confusing the hell out of ourselves? You're just confusing yourself on this road to like making a choice about something. So what you need to do is like set all that stuff down for a hot second and like take all this pressure off yourself of having to decide about whatever this thing is, because you're not ready. You don't have all the facts yet. You don't have all the information that you need. And once you do, you will know, right? I know you know what it's like to just suddenly know what you need to do. Like suddenly just the epiphany comes and the light bulb turns on, that gut feeling races in, and you're like, okay, I can do it. And I don't know what it is for you. I mean, I think I've got the word art popping into my head. I feel like some of you are like worried about how to effectively express yourselves, or like maybe you've like put something on hold and you've been like wondering how to get back to it, and if I don't make a choice I'm gonna lose it sort of situation. And it's like you can't lose that. You can't lose anything. Like it's still in your orbit. you're going through a lot and developing a different perspective, and you just can't approach your life and your development and whatever else from the same way. You can't make a decision because you are finding out that you have a new way of being, and there's so much being released right now. Like, you have to think of what the moon is doing as what you're also doing. Emotionally, you are so full right now. And some of that needs to be purged so that you can make a choice about getting back to what you need to get back to, or bringing new things in, or saying goodbye to certain things, or whatever you need to do. But like, you're too full to make a choice. So like, don't put that unnecessary pressure and shame on yourself of like, oh, I can't, like, why can't I decide? You don't need to. You don't need to. That's all there is to it. As far as how to do that, how to make that process a little bit easier on yourself, it's the ability to respond card. So you have a great mechanism for making choices. And I think that's probably why this feels so frustrating. It's like, you look at all the times when you've had to make a tough choice or a tough decision, or like navigate some particular waters of your life, and it's like, why can't I do that right now? And then you start to tell yourself, I've lost the ability to respond. I've lost the ability to choose, and that's why I can't choose. No, like, your ability to respond is just fine. And you know what else that has to do with? Not responding is also responding, right? Not making a choice, deciding not to decide is a decision. You're never not responding in your life. Every single thing that you do in your life, every single thing, every moment, every thought, everything is a choice. You are always responding. And it is a remarkable thing that you can do and that you get to do. So perhaps take some time to explore what that means. And maybe like you take a day and you just allow yourself to observe all of the ways that you respond to your life. What are you responding to? How are you responding? From where within you are you responding? Are you making certain choices through a very particular lens or narrative, and you're so used to doing things that way that now that you have an opportunity to make a different choice, it feels very tight and it feels impossible, and you're like, I couldn't possibly. Well, of course you could possibly, because it's popping up to be like, hey, there's a really cool invitation right now to like do something different. And it feels really off kilter because of that, because you're so used to living from the same lens. But you have the ability to respond from outside that lens. It's just a matter of putting yourself there and just finding what it feels like. And you might have to do that from, like I said, more of an observant point of view before you jump in feet first. And again, you're purging so much. That's probably what you need to do. Like, do a little like mental test drive of things and just consider the outcomes and possibilities, and consider what it might be like to make a new choice. That'll drive you back into, oh wow, I just noticed that last card and it's perfect. So what you're driving into is passion and spontaneity, which is like, oh, one of my favorite cards in the deck. This is so great. Like, what a blessing this is for you, air signs, because that tells me that that feeling of rigidity and pressure that I was feeling for you is correct, right? Because if you're moving into a place of passion and spontaneity, what are you going to struggle with on the way there? You're going to struggle with rigidity. You're going to struggle with wanting to make choices the same way you always have. And something in you is going, it needs to be different. Please just let us do something different. And also, like, wouldn't be surprised to hear that all of these situations and people are popping back up to be like, are you going to do the same shit you've always done? Or are you going to choose a new route? Are you going to open yourself up? I'm getting an image of like a heart doing this. I think for some air signs, it's like, it's a great opening of the heart space, because that's where a lot of passion and spontaneity comes from, right? And also like in this gut area, like it's all going to come from within here. And it's like my mid to low back that was like earlier hurting me. So it's like this whole area that houses all of this like passion and spontaneity and creativity. You've been like folded in on yourself trying to make choices from like, oh, preserve it. And now it's in here going like, no, let me out. Like, you don't need to hoard me. There is an abundance of me. But in order to access that, you have to do things differently. And then like, it's all fun and games from there, right? Like that's a great thing. This is a really beautiful thing that I'm sure will like really support your life and where you're going in a really lovely and amazing and surprising way. So maybe as you get nervous about making the new choice, just remind yourself of what these things could bring to your experience of life. What would your life be like if you allowed more passion and spontaneity in your choices, in your way of being? If you started attracting in people who embodied those qualities? I mean, what a treat and a half. Like, that's so great. I want this. So I'm excited for you. I think it's going to be okay. It is going to be. I know. It's going to be okay. You've got a task ahead of you. Definitely use this full moon and this whole week to just purge. Don't make any decisions. Don't force yourself to do that. You don't need to. That'll come soon enough. Just use this week to just really feel into things, let out what needs to be let out, just kind of deal with things as gracefully and comfortably as you can. It's going to be a doozy, but you have everything you need to respond to the situation, of course. So if you feel supported by this, link in my bio to donate to me or to book a full session with me. I would absolutely love to do that with you, and I love you. Have a good week.